All right, welcome to Team Time. It is, let me get muted. Mute. It is still the beginning of February, or actually, no, we're past halfway now. So it's flying by quickly, apparently, too quickly for me to keep up with. So we're going to actually start tonight doing the habits of transformational leadership with our team times. And so it's going to be a little bit heavier on personal development and leadership than it's going to be less like action steps and kind of how-tos, more less of that basic stuff. The cool thing is if you're a brand new coach, reach out to your business coach and we can get you all that basic stuff. It's very easy to put that in your hands and get you the training you need. And Optavia Learn is an amazing resource for that. So don't ever feel like you don't know how to do something that you want to know how to do, because we can definitely help you in those areas as well. But I think this is really important to start helping us grow as people, not just as health coaches and learn how to work our business better, but also learn how to become a better person. And so we're going to start the series. It's going to be a 6-week process because we're going to do all 6 of the habits of transformational leadership. And when you're learning these things, like, it's super important, I think, to embrace the fact that the more, the better you become at being a transformational leader. It actually doesn't diminish you being a transactional leader, because it's very important still to know the transactional stuff of how to do things. But the more you grow as a transformational leader, actually the better you become as a transactional leader as well. So it benefits you in both areas. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get going for this week's. I might scare some people off with the futuristic leading, or leading from the future, but it's very true. And I've talked about this a lot if you've seen my live videos or if you've paid attention to the client support page about how we can kind of go to this future version of ourselves and see this person that's in optimal health, and then start leading our lives from that spot, because that person is the best person to get advice from. That person is the person that we are becoming. And so that's where we want to go. So that's why this is called Futuristic Leaders, because the first habit of transformational leadership is we lead from the future, act in the now. So that kind of sounds like it's a little bit like frou-frou-ish, a little bit like, what did you say? So I lead from the future, I act in the now. This is the first and most like foundational step of becoming a transformational leader with Optavia. And I think anyone that's been in the company for a while, you know that Optavia prides itself on growing us as people. We seek to become, fully present and live in abundance and become the best version of ourselves. That's really what Optavia wants. And sure, healthy body is a piece of that, but it's not the only piece. So once again, this kind of sets the stage, and you're looking ahead to see the person that you want to become. So that's health-based, rank-based, income-based, lives changed-based. So what do I mean by that? I mean, just set a goal. So if you are someone that has lost all their weight and you are at the goal weight that you wanted to be at, what's next? There's either a rank that you are pursuing, there's an income level that you're pursuing, there's an amount of impact you want to have on lives that you're pursuing. You're pursuing something. So set that goal. Don't stay at, okay, I'm at my goal weight and I'm just helping people. It's okay, that's what you're actually doing, but it's always good to set another goal and be ahead. And like I said, at the bottom, most likely you're a mix of several of these. But also defining your priority is super important because we live busy lives. And so the more we grow through this, the more we learn to be highly effective leaders, is you have to prioritize. And then whatever your top priority is takes priority. Give it top priority. So what does it take for you to do that? You have to first decide what your top priority is. And then that is where you spend time daily, is your top priority. So what does it mean? You are literally leading from the future, not looking ahead to the future from where you are currently at and speaking about it. So that's not, going to the future and coming back and saying, oh, well, when I was thinking about that person in the future, no, that's the wrong way to think about it. So what we're actually doing is going to that future person and staying there, and living in that moment, of being exactly who you want to be. And then you make decisions from there. You don't make a decision saying, well, if I was this person, I would have done this. No, you say, I am this person. I am as fit and healthy and have the financial abundance that I want to have. And then when a decision comes up, you make it from that point of view. You don't make it from what that person would do. You're making it from what that person is doing. It's almost like a past tense, decision at that point. So awareness matters, attention matters. You liberate and release yourself. Ask yourself, from the future, how did I achieve this? From the future, how am I going to act in the now? It's all about your perspective. If you look ahead to the result you want, would you be doing what you are doing now to achieve it? So sometimes it helps us get through obstacles and that type of thing as well with this, because when we're in a moment and we feel like we're struggling to make a decision, or we don't know what to decide, we go to that future version of ourselves that is exactly who we want to be and has the life that we want to have, and ask, what would I decide as that person? What is my decision as this person? And so in the most basic terms of health coaching, leading from the future and trying to, transition your clients to thinking in this way, is if you say you have a client who wants to lose 30 pounds, well, when they're on the weekend and they're having a struggle moment, you say, Kevin, go to that future version of you that's 30 pounds less, that isn't on medications, has all the energy you want to have. If someone puts a donut in front of him, do you think he eats it? Think about that and let that sit in and see what they say, because our goal ultimately as a health coach is to really bring raised awareness and raised attention levels to our clients so they can start making their own decisions. So we want to empower them. And that is a powerful way to empower your clients, is to get them to start thinking past the problem that they're trying to solve, which is how most people come into this. They want to solve a problem. I want to lose weight. That's problem solving. And that's okay. But you got to start moving past that at some point to what's next. So how do you become a leader of the future? You go to the future. You see yourself as the leader you want to become. Then you look back to the now and decide if the track you are on is what got you there. So once again, this is some Back to the Future stuff. But really think about this. Take a minute to go there in your mind and decide, my wiser and more enlightened self in the future, if I'm having some issues trying to figure out what I want to do, or what the next step is for me in my life, then I go to that future person, and it makes you have a little bit more clarity. That this person that I want to become would either decide to do the action step that you're thinking of now, or they wouldn't do it. And you take advice from that situation. So then you're also, you're the driving your own vehicle. It's not reaching out to a mentor and saying, what should I do? I don't know what to do. You know what you need to do. You just haven't realized it yet. You're not aware. Your awareness isn't there yet. So become aware in the future. Don't problem solve. Go to the desired outcome, sit in that space, and it informs you of your current decisions. Structural attention. So we all know about this. This is, the way we assist our clients and try to work them towards figuring out the structural attention. And we've been talking about this a lot lately in the client support page too. But structural attention is as simple as, what you want and where you want to be, and have a vision for what you are creating. So being very clear about where we are in relation to that vision is giving us our starting point. the discrepancy between the two things is what creates that energy, what creates that pull to go to where you want to go. So if I'm a brand new health coach, I just signed up, just got my kit, and my first goal is, say my first goal is financial. My first goal is I want to make $500 a month. Well, my business coach is going to say, well, you're looking at helping about 5 or 6 people then in your first month if you want to make that income in your first month. So where are you at right now as a new coach? Well, I'm a brand new coach. I don't have any clients. Well, do you have any prospects? Well, I might have a couple of people that were interested. Okay, write their names down. We're going to reach out to them. Okay, now what's next? Well, you got 2 names. How many more do you need? Well, you need at least 3 because you need 5 total, right? And then are we coaching past that too? You always want to have extra. So, okay, why don't you think about writing down 10 names? Do you think you can come up with 10 names of people that you think this would benefit? Do you think this would change their life potentially? So then you're creating that structural tension of, what you currently have, which is none of the things that you want. You want $500 a month. You want 5 clients. You want to start growing your business, but then that's your goal. And so the more you can pull that apart and even go, okay, why do you want $500 a month? Okay, well, $500 a month is going to pay for my private school tuition for my child. Okay, so what would it mean to you to be able to fully pay for the private school tuition for your child? And start diving in, because this is really your why. This is really building that structural tension, and that's how you help your coaches. It's the same thing coaching clients. This is why we dive into people's why. And like, I want to lose 30 pounds earlier. Why? Why do I want to lose 30 pounds? Well, I want to fit in this size clothes that I hadn't fit in since I was in high school. Okay, well, what does that mean to you to be able to fit in those size clothes? Well, it'll give me confidence. It'll be able to, feel like I've gotten control of my health again. Like, let them talk, figure this stuff out for them. And the cool thing is I looked this up. This is not me. I didn't write this. But when we use this pattern, learning and skill development happens. So we may experience challenges on the way, but motivation is always present. And when we continue to create what we want, and each successive creation creates a platform for the next creation. All that basically means is you are setting the course to succeed. But once you get to the first creation, the first thing that you wanted to fulfill, you're not stopping. You're moving to the next one. You're constantly going to the next one. So that's how you continue to create structural tension. And so you don't end up falling into this oscillating pattern, which is what most people do in life when they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we'll talk about that later too. So here it is, oscillating structure. So this is your typical patterns versus new patterns. So oscillating structure is what most people are used to with their health. Advancing structure is what we want. So oscillating is the success you have created is neutralized. So each step forward is followed by a step backward. Within this structure, success cannot succeed long term. So, as most of you know, as coaches in this is this is the pattern that most people are in. Okay, so this is the pattern that most people live in with their health, and this is what we're trying to help our clients work out of. Because this is a yo-yo diet. This is I lost weight, I gain weight. I lost weight, I gain weight. I diet to lose weight. I fall back into old habits and I gain weight. And they go back and forth again. What you are trying to do as their coach is help create this advancing structure. And this even works past, I was talking to a coach earlier this week that was talking about clients, getting the maintenance and failing or, falling back. Well, it's because we haven't done a very good job of helping them stay in that advancing structure of what's next. What's your next goal? What's past your weight loss? What's past the goal that you set to the next goal? Because you stay in continuous forward motion that way. If I set a goal for 30 pounds and I lost my 30 pounds and I had nothing next, then by nature, I fall back into old habits and I fall into that oscillating pattern. If I have a next, then I'm always working towards that goal. So creating that advancing structure is a structure in which the success you have achieved becomes a platform for future success. And you can build momentum over time, and the sum of your total life experiences leads you forward. So step one for setting goals for people, just some more basic stuff, but define the goal. So set SMART goals. And y'all know about these, they're in the book, but specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time sensitive. So this is where you're putting your awareness. This is where you are living at your goal, right? So if my goal is to make $10,000 a month, I go to that goal and I say, okay, I am this person that makes $10,000 a month. And every day when I wake up, if there's a day that I don't feel like doing the structural things that I know are going to get me there, the person in that moment doesn't decide, because my person that's living in the now is emotional and and it might not make the best decisions. But if I'm leading from the future and I am believing that I am that person that makes that income goal every month, it's not a choice anymore whether I'm going to do the things that I need to do to advance my business. I know I'm going to do them because I know that future version of myself would have done them. Does that make sense? So put your awareness on your future goal. It creates your structural tension by defining current reality. So of course, if I want to make X amount of money, then my current reality is I make this amount of money now. And then building out that structural tension is, what is that money going to do for me, and why do I want to make that amount of money? It's not just the number, it's what those finances do for me. If it allows me to live in abundance, if it allows me to give back more, if it allows me to fund, other things, missions trips, whatever your heart is for that money, that's what you're figuring out. And then body, mind, and finances, very said, separate charts for each. So you don't have to stack everything into one. You can have a structural tension chart for your healthy body goal, a structural tension chart for your healthy mind goal, a structural tension chart for your healthy finances goal. It's okay to have more than one structural tension chart. And then, like an example here, my future fit and healthy self would not get here if I ate this now. That's like I told you earlier, like on the weekend, if I'm presented with a donut, I know my future self that is as healthy and fit as I want to be would not eat the donut now, because they're healthy and fit as I want to be. So that decision's already made. And then step 3 is always resolving the tension by creating an action plan. So the fundamental primary secondary choices, y'all are familiar with those, the book club and everything. We've been going through that. Those are everything, because those help you implement the action plan. I love this quote, so I'm going to throw this in here. Without a clear vision, we allow our energy to flow along paths of least resistance that don't lead us anywhere. So I love this, if you can kind of visualize this and think about yourself in that way, that if you don't have a clear vision in mind, your natural tendency is to take the path of least resistance. So I don't know, like think about, like, if you're going to go hiking, say you're like, I'm going to go hiking up the mountain. Well, then you get to the point where you have to decide, if you're going to take trail A, which is easy, trail B, which is medium, or trail C, which is hard. But your goal isn't to get to the top of the mountain. Your goal is just to hike. A lot of times you're just going to take A because you're just going for a hike. Your goal was to take a hike. It wasn't to go on the hardest hike possible or to reach the top. So you take the easiest path. Whereas if you just set a goal to get to the top of the mountain, or you set a goal to do the most vigorous hike you could, you're going to go with C, because you're not taking the easiest road. You've defined your goal, and you have a clear vision for what you want. So you take the path that gets you to your goal instead of taking the easy way. I love this one too. So if you don't know where you are going, any old turn in the road will do. If you know where you are going, you have a clear choice laid out in front of you that keeps you on track to your goals. So I always think about this, and I describe it in the same way. I'm going to stop share for a minute, or my computer's messing up. so I can see you all. To me, the easiest way to think about structural tension and to break it down in the easiest form for most people is to, I'm going gallery view so I can see you guys, is to go into like, you're planning a road trip. You know, a road trip is you are at point A and your destination is point B. So that is an advancing structure. You know, you're constantly, you're going to leave your home and you're going to start driving to your destination. And you don't stop and turn around and go back. That's oscillating. You know, like you don't stop until you get to your destination. So when you're trying to assist your clients to move into a straightforward pattern, this is what you describe to them. You know, you don't say, so if I'm my client and my goal was to lose 30 pounds, well, I lose 10 pounds. Well, of course we're going to celebrate that, but that's like pit stop number one. You know, you don't turn around after 10 pounds and go back home. You know, you took a pit stop, you celebrated your 10 pounds, and then moving forward, you have 20 pounds to lose. It's not, I've lost 10 pounds. You know, you don't dwell in what you've done. You move forward to what's next, and you continue to move forward. And then that way your mind doesn't have the option of going, well, I lost 10 pounds. So, you know, this weekend, it's okay if I have a little extra because I've already accomplished something. Because we know from all those secondary, primary, and fundamental choices, that's what happens with normal people. When you get into that oscillating pattern, you go, well, you know, I really want to lose 30, but I lost 10. And so now the emotional conflict isn't as strong. You know, that tension, that structural tension isn't as strong as it was. And so then you are apt to fall back into old ways and go, well, you know, I lost that 10 pounds so fast on 5 and 1 that I could probably cheat this weekend and just get right back on track Monday. And then I'll be fine. I'll get it off. And it's just such an unhealthy pattern to be in. And look, we're all guilty of it. Like I said, we're coaches and we know we give each other grace, but that's what we're doing now is we're growing as people and we're becoming better leaders of ourselves, of our lives, but also better leaders of others, because that's how we're going to serve more people. That's how you're going to help people move out of their old ways. And that's how you're going to stop being frustrated with clients that get stuck in that pattern, because it's not our job to pull them out of the pattern. It's their job to decide to come out of it, right? It's our job to enlighten them to what is happening, you know, the typical habits of people, why we do these things, why it's important to build this emotional conflict and the structure to get you to where you want to go. And then once we empower them with that information and give them that knowledge, it's still their choice, but it's easier for you to have grace for somebody because you understand that they're not, you know, they don't hate the program, or, you know, they're not bad people. They just keep falling back into these old habits. You know, we had somebody that recently, you know, commented in the group about doing a diet, and I private messaged them. I deleted the comment because we're not going to promote diets in the program. But I private messaged that person and really just spoke to her about that and how, you know, ultimately what we do is a lifestyle change. And that's what sets us apart. We're not here to do a diet. The issue you'll have a lot with coaches, and this is just having some real time, the issue you'll have a lot as coaches is 5 and 1 works so well and it works so quickly that it's hard to break some people out of that diet mentality in 5 and 1 because they lose so fast, especially men that don't need to lose like 50 or 20 pounds because they'll lose half of it in a week, you know? And so then it's like, okay, well, man, it would be really great if you started reading your book some. Have you read your book? They ain't reading the book. They lost half their weight in 1 week. I mean, they're, you know, like, so what you then have is the opportunity to say, hey, not are you reading the book, but hey, I'm concerned as your health coach that you've lost this weight so quickly, and I'm happy for you, but it's going to be hard for you not to fall back into some old habits also because you have had success so fast. Is that something that you're concerned about? And then they say, well, yeah, I don't want to gain it back. That is your open door then to coach. That is your opportunity to say, well, I can tell you something that I have learned as a coach that will help you not fall back into that pattern, to help you not fall back into those old ways. And that's where you have the opportunity to plug them into reading, plug them into the Habits Health calls on Wednesdays, plug them into the community, whatever piece that you can get them to grab onto besides the fuelings, because the fuelings are great. We love them. They're effective. They're scientifically backed. They make it easy to coach people because we know if they eat them and do 5 fuelings a day in your lean and green meal, then guess what? You're going to lose weight. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. But at the same time, moving past that with them, if you have somebody that crushes week 1, start trying to explore more with them, start trying to say, oh man, week 1, that's great. What's your non-scale victories? Of course, we're going to celebrate those too, not just weight loss, but then, hey man, you've really lost, you lost half your weight in 1 week. Is your goal still the same? If you wanted to lose, 20 pounds and you lost 10 in 1 week, are you still aiming for 20? Because there's 10 more to lose, but do you have a bigger goal now? Well, they might be like, well, yeah, I think I could probably lose 30 actually. It's always going next. And okay, well, once you lose 30 pounds, then, you have a client that's, say for instance, getting close to maintenance. Say that same client has lost 25 pounds and they're getting close to 30 and 30 is their goal. But hey, what's your plan once you get off of your 30 pounds? You're only 5 pounds away. So what are you going to do next? Are you planning on starting to add some exercise in? Are you planning on going to the gym? You want my help with just some ways to improve your calorie burn without going to the gym? Then you can teach them the NEAT system. There's all these things that you plug them into. So you're helping them go next, because even though they've lost their weight, their fitness goals aren't there. Most people, and unless you're Gail and you're a rock star running queen, and it was the opposite, but it's still setting another goal, you're always setting another goal. And that truly has been a key to my success as a coach is setting another goal. When I started coaching, goal number 1, always okay, get the ED. Okay, ED. Oh, we got ED in 8 weeks. All right, cool. What's next? Well, you start bringing on coaches. Okay, we're bringing on coaches. Great. I was bringing on coaches. Okay, what's next? Well, you need 5 senior coaches. Okay, 5 senior coaches. What's next? I'm constantly was working on what was next. There was never okay, I think I can do that. Maybe a few months from now, I'll be able to achieve it. No, you're going to achieve it, because what do? You reverse work it, right? So if your goal is to get 5 senior coaches, about half your coaches will become senior. You need 10 coaches. If your goal is to get 10 coaches, then every 1 out of 5 clients become a coach based on averages. So you need 50 clients to have to expect to have 10 coaches. You need to have served 50 people. That's just using the law of averages. So once you've had 50 clients, and I'm not saying all at one time, but once you've had 50 clients, you have 10 coaches in there somewhere. Well, once you've had 10 coaches, half of those coaches are going to become senior. Well, then you got 5 senior coaches. And guess what? Half those coaches are going to go ED. So then you keep using that law of averages to figure out what you're trying to create in your business. So you can always reverse work things like that and try to figure out what you need to do, because it always goes back to basics. It's always filling your client funnel and then sponsoring coaches. That's how your business grows, always. But it's so cool if you can utilize this lead from the future, act in the now for the same thing, because say your goal right now is to be executive director. Well, what do you need to be an executive director? Well, we know there's several paths, but you need $6,000 of frontline volume to be an ED all by yourself. So how do you achieve that? Well, you're going to need about 25 clients, So that's the most basic way to get to ED. And then as you start bringing on coaches and you have a senior coach, then you need 1 senior coach and 4,800 in frontline. If you have 2 senior coaches, you need 3,600 in frontline. because it's a combination of points is what you're working off of. But if that's your goal, you don't think I'm not going to do it. You think I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to do it, but then you reverse work how to do it, you know? And then when you have decisions to make, you're like, well, is Kevin executive director, would he make this decision? Or is this what he would do to achieve that goal? And you know the answer. So then it's just doing it, right? And it's the same with your clients. They're doing 5 and 1. It's very simple. Or, you know, a lot of times the most basic problems are what's holding people up. And it's always basic stuff like they're adding to their lean and green, they're eating extra, you know, optional snacks, or they're putting stuff in their coffee. I mean, it's like 3 years of this and it's the same thing all the time. And it's okay. It's good because it's human nature. You know, it's human behavior. It's always the same. If someone goes cold, they're probably off program. You know, it's not rocket science at this point. If they're not talking to you, they're not doing what they were doing. You know, they're ashamed. They have fear and doubt has set in. So sometimes it's a simple, you know, write to them and be like, reach out to them in a caring way and not say, hey, how are you doing a program? If the last 2 times you've asked them that, they haven't responded, because they're probably doing terrible on program, truthfully. So you don't reach out and say, hey, how are you doing a program? Have you gotten back on track yet? No, they ain't got back on track. They were off program 3 messages ago. Or, you know, like they haven't got back on track. Like, hey, what's going on in your life? You know, at one time you were going really strong with this, and I know that we had talked and you believed that you were going to lose X amount of weight, that you wanted to get off X medications. You like remind them of their goals. You know, remind them of the goals, and you don't know their goals unless you dug into their why. And guess what? The more powerful you dug into their why, the more it'll awaken them after the fact. Because if I'd have fallen off track and my coach would have said, you feel like you got the energy now to play with your kids that you wanted, I'd have been like, dagger to the heart. You got me. I don't. I got to get back on. I was like, I'm going to do it. All right, let's talk, you know? And you, as their health coach, that's the most powerful thing you have. You have their why. They probably haven't shared that with anybody but you, right? So that's what matters at the end of the day. And if they don't connect with you after their why, give them some grace and move on. I mean, really, like it's just the best advice ever. And it sounds simple, and I know it's not simple, and it sounds cold, and it's really not cold. It's really being super conservative and preserving your time and your emotions and your heart and saving all that you have inside to pour out on people who deserve it. Not people that need it, people that deserve it. And what do I mean by deserve it? I mean, they're open to letting you pour into them. They want you to pour into them. They will allow you to pour into their life. Because if you keep pouring into a cup that's got a top on it, it ain't going to do nothing but spill everywhere. It's just the truth. And guess what? It's going to happen. You're going to empty out. And then when a cup comes along that needs you to fill it up, you ain't got nothing left to pour out because you spilled it everywhere. So super important if you can constantly move to who's next, because those are the people that want you to help them, that desire for you to help them. If they don't want it, you're dragging them, and you will wear yourself out. Just being 100%. And I went over time, of course. But anyway, all right, cool. Well, anybody got any questions about anything?
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Gail.
I did talk to Andrea, and I'll fill you in on that later.
All right, sounds good.
And I got to go because I got a call. I got a potential client. Woohoo!
All right, change some lives.
All right.
Bye. Anyone else? Anybody questions about anything? Good to see you all. Lee, great seeing you. Diane, Mom, you disappeared, but I know you're still here. Did I miss anything? Nope. All right, cool. So next week we'll start with, habit of transformational leadership number 2. And that's talking about taking responsibility and playing above the line. And it's a really, really great opportunity to talk about the drama triangle. So if you know about the drama triangle, it's awesome. It will teach you so much in life. Did you have a question about something, Lee?
No, I lost you in there a while ago. Internet connection.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, y'all have a blessed night. Great seeing y'all. It sounds bad. Oh. All right, cool. Well, y'all have a great night. It was great seeing y'all's faces. And reach out if there's anything I can do to help y'all. Talk to y'all later.